Look out, America. You are being watched.
As we drive down the road, the forward-facing cameras can capture the license plates up to 160 miles per hour.
This car is capable of taking pictures of thousands of license plates a minute.
The MV-Track system is a 4-camera license plate recognition system. 2 forward-facing cameras that capture your oncoming traffic, parallel parked vehicles, along with adjacent lane traffic. The rear cameras are configured to capture your perpendicular parked vehicles.
Each plate that MV-Track reads also captures the date and timestamp and GPS coordinate of the car, and then that information is fed back to the company's central database. MV-Track leases its technology to repossession agents. They use it to repossess vehicles from owners who have fallen behind in their payments. Systems like this are being used all around the world. It's estimated that more than 1/3 of large U.S. police forces have them to track down stolen vehicles and collect on unpaid parking tickets. But the police are also building huge databases of vehicle location information, whether or not the owners of the cars in question have done anything wrong.
The thing that bothers me about it the most is that most of the records in the database are of innocent people.
When Mike Katz-Lacabe found out the police in his hometown, San Leandro, California, were using license plate readers, he used the California Public Records Act to find out what they had on his 2 cars.
My vehicles have been photographed more than 100 times. Each of those times, with a date and timestamp and of course the location data. And that information was being stored indefinitely. There was no indication they were ever going to get rid of it. The thing I found most troubling about it was that, at least in one of the photos, my children are recognizable when they're getting out of the car. It's an image that was captured by this automated license plate scanner that's mounted on a police car as it was driving by my house. I'm in my driveway, and we're just getting out of the car, and you can identify both of my 2 daughters.
The police chief in San Leandro says the data is only being used to stop or solve crimes, and they're holding on to the data because it could be valuable in solving future cases. In the past, local police departments wouldn't have bothered to shoot and store pictures of cars they had no reason to suspect. But cheap access to powerful technology is changing all that. It costs less than $2 a year to store a gigabyte of information. That's down from $19 in 2005. So now, even a relatively small police force can put together a database with millions of plate numbers in it. And they're not the only ones.
There are millions and millions per day that are gathered.
We stopped filling these milestones up because they were aggregating so quickly. It's like cell multiplication. Once we hit 100 million, it just kept going.
Scott Jackson spent 23 years as a repossession agent. Now, he and Luke Smith run MV-Track in Palatine, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. It's one of 2 companies in the U.S. marketing the technology for private use.
It grabs a license plate, it stores the information. It can't instantly pull up the person's name, it can't pull up their address, their DOB, it can't pull any of that stuff up. What it does only, and only what it does, is it matches. So if we download a hot list of wanted vehicles for repossession, within milliseconds, when it grabs a license plate, it matches that.
Repossession agents pay a monthly fee to use the cameras and get an alert when they scan the plate on a car wanted for repossession. And every one of those scans, including vehicles that are not wanted for anything, goes back into MV-Track's database. They even have my car, shot here on the streets in New York City. I gave MV-Track permission to look up my vehicle in their database.
We ran a search, and we got a result. And we saw this vehicle at 7:11 in the morning and 49 seconds on December 11th in 2011. And it was last seen at that latitude and that longitude. And that report is stored on the back-end server.
That's a problem for California State Senator Joe Simidian.
I don't think we want either the private sector or the public sector collecting data about the movements of law-abiding citizens, keeping it in perpetuity, and then sharing it with anyone who wants to write a check. Right now, all of that's entirely within the law.
Senator Simidian sponsored a bill earlier this year that would limit the amount of time a private contractor could hold on to the data and require police departments to get search warrants to access it.
My hope was to say, couldn't we purge the information after some reasonable period of time? Can't we make sure that if law enforcement is accessing the information, they have a warrant, they have some reasonable basis, some probable cause to ask for the information?
The bill was eventually scrapped, faced with opposition from companies like MVTrack and law enforcement groups. MVTrack says it has no intention of selling the data to third-party marketing groups. And police departments say they're only using the information to track down bad guys, not to invade the privacy of law-abiding citizens. Cold comfort for people like Mike Katz-Lakabe.
My vehicle wasn't stolen. I had committed no crime. There was no warrant out for my arrest. Yet the police are basically establishing a database of my location as determined by this automated license plate scanner. It's a case where Big Brother has come into effect.
For the Wall Street Journal, this is Julia Angwin in New York.